Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And welcome back, everybody. Every time we get together with her, lots of insight about things that are spiritual, energy healing. That's all in her wheelhouse as a spiritual coach. She does Reiki, crystal bowl, sound bowl healing, birth chart reading. Today, something a little bit different. And I'm not even sure where this is going to go, but she's had dealings apparently with extraterrestrials and something called a walk-in soul. I'm going to be honest, I'm flying blind here. I'm not even sure what a walk-in soul is, but I'm intrigued. You know, many of us feel certain experiences. We may think we've had another life. We may think we see things and then we write, it was just a shadow, but maybe it wasn't. She is Jamie Serrato. She joins us today. How you doing?
Great. And I love educating. I love teaching people about the things that I've learned about and that aren't necessarily information that's available to everybody to find out.
I love the fact that more and more people are open to different types of things, especially spirituality. I was at a doctor's office yesterday, and I don't know, a little conversation started. Two nurses were there, and for a moment, I was thinking they were going to think, oh, Steve's a little woo-woo, something's going on there. But I stand strong in what I believe in terms of the universe supporting us and some other things as well. Has nothing to do with religion. And right away, they were on board talking about chakras, energy, Reiki. We're talking about how some doctors do Reiki before surgical procedures and all of that. And I was like, all right, more and more are open to learning or understanding or even trying to understand what's bigger than us. So walk-in experience, what was that again? Walk-in?
I am a walk-in soul.
Soul, thank you. What is that?
So a walk-in soul is somebody who helps out a soul that is currently living out an incarnation that might be very heavy and very difficult. So there's a concept called the natal soul. That's the soul that is born into somebody's body during an incarnation. And a walk-in is someone who comes in and replaces that soul at a certain point during that person's life. So when I was 25 years old, the natal soul that was born into the body left. She walked out. She went across the veil. She went through her own death process, a life review. And at that time, I began experiencing a lot of extraterrestrial contact, and I was inserted and installed into this body, and I've been here ever since.
Lots to process there. So we're going to go over that again for a second.
Okay.
You believe that you are currently occupying the fill in the blank.
Another way to say it is a soul exchange. So my soul was exchanged with a person who was born into the body, and I walked in at a later point. So two souls, one body, one incarnation.
Was it an exchange, a flip-flop?
Yes. Yes, we switched.
So let me make sure I understand this right. You, at this moment, this is fascinating. You, at this moment, are occupying the body of, I'm just going to say someone, just go with me on this, of someone whose soul didn't originate in that body.
So her soul originated in the body. I'm the one who didn't originate.
I'm sorry. That's what I meant. You replaced the soul that originated in the body.
Correct.
Wow. And did that take place because she had challenges at that time and you were, I guess, sent to do that job?
Yes. I have some memory of before the exchange happened, and I came and I viewed her situation. I viewed, the family members that she had, the karma she had worked on already, and the situation she was in and why she needed to get out, because she wasn't going to be able to live the full lifetime because she had a very difficult assignment. So it was like a passing of the baton. She was like, I did my part. It's your turn. And I came in and, this body and I had a complete personality change overnight. Like my personality changed. I no longer felt the same about the people in my life. They were like strangers to me, and I basically started a whole new life.
It's almost like the witness protection program in a way.
It very much is.
My
Yes.
gosh.
Yes.
So,
I moved across the country. I let go of everything from my old life.
wow. This just gives more thought to there's things that are bigger than what we think they are and going on here. So, to better understand this, did you know this change was coming, or it just happened?
So the previous soul that was in the body, she was praying. She was praying to leave that body, actually. And she had some awareness and some communication with her spirit guides, not to the extent that I have, but she was always asking, "Can I go home? Can I go home yet?" And I don't think she consciously knew that was going to happen, but I think she had a subconscious awareness that she always kind of got guidance that like you're almost done. Like you just have to make it a little further. Like you can do it. So I don't think there was a conscious awareness that she was going to pass away, that she was going to leave. But I definitely think subconsciously she knew that she was never alone and that there were guides with her and that she was being assisted at all times.
Um, so let me see if I have this right. We have two bodies, obviously two souls occupying those two bodies. Her soul. Let me do this again.
It's one body and two souls.
And two souls. Where's the other body?
Yeah. Hmm.
There's not another body.
No,
Oh,
I
because
came
if
into the body that she walked out of. We switched.
but you said the
So
word.
I'm using her body, but it's now my body.
But
She transferred ownership of
switched.
it to me.
Where's your body?
So before I walked in, I was in Arcturus, in an extraterrestrial life form.
Okay, yeah, because we were going to talk about that. Um, did you? Was it sort of a rescue mission in some regards? Why you showed up this way?
Yes, she was undergoing a lot of trauma. She had a very difficult childhood and she was very tired and she was not able to complete all of the karma that she had taken on by herself. So when
Hmm.
I came in, it was very much like a rescue mission, like, hey, I'll take over. I will finish out all these difficult soul contracts you have, these difficult situations that you're in. And then after that, I will step into my purpose and I will finish out the lifetime in this body.
Why you?
I was selected as well as kind of a volunteer, but from what I remember, I was in a classroom with other Arcturian children, and we all had to kind of decide who was going to go to Earth and do this mission. And I was selected, and I can actually like remember being cheered on, like go, like you can do it. And like I was super excited to come here and to fulfill my mission.
Do you remember the beginning of that exchange? Your soul replacing hers?
Yes. So I'm a fully conscious walk-in. I was aware of the whole thing, but that is a rare thing to happen. But yes, I remember the day I walked in. I know the date. It was January 20th, 2015. I know the approximate time. I remember being almost like a bubble and kind of floating down to the body, and the body was taking a bath. It was in the bathtub, and I heard a very loud popping noise. And at that point, the old soul disconnected from the solar plexus, and I went in, and I was in the body, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, I was very excited. I was like, I'm 25, I'm young, I'm beautiful, and I can do whatever I want. And I was all full of like piss and vinegar, as they say.
Wow. Did it feel very unfamiliar? Like what's going on here?
So I wouldn't say unfamiliar. I just had like this zest for life, like, but I was naive too. So I lost a lot of my inhibitions, right? So when we grow up and we're raised in society, we become more inhibited. And when I walked in, I had very low inhibitions. Like I would go out, I would sing karaoke, I would be partying, dancing, and this was a complete personality change because the previous soul was very introverted. Um, but it took me a long time to get a hold of the psychic abilities because they all turned on at that time.
Were those innately yours before you did the soul exchange, or did you take over something from her?
So she was very spiritual and she was very well studied, but she was more like a book knowledge person where she would study like books. And I have my own set of abilities that are very different, like with the channeling and the telepathy with my spirit team and all of that. So many new abilities were turned on when I came into the body. And I did lose some of her expertise in certain things because my memory was never quite the same.
Is there anything that you took from her or that was passed on from her when you took over? Did you just take over her body, or were there certain pieces of her soul?
I struggled with possessions actually, like her clothing and things. I didn't like to wear the same clothes she wore. I didn't like to have the same colors like around the house. I repainted the walls in the house I was living in. I got rid of most of her books and a lot of her things because it just didn't feel like my energy. And so it was kind of disturbing to be like living in somebody's home that didn't feel like your own home. And I had to make the reality my reality and kind of undo a lot of what she had created.
So you basically started a new life in a lot of
I,
regards.
I did. I walked away from my birth parents. That was not a really healthy relationship anyway. I moved. I left the state within 6 months of this happening. And, I now live like a completely different life. I don't really associate with anybody from before the walk-in at all.
Did it feel somewhat natural and or comfortable, or was it just a what's going on here?
I love physicality. Like I love being human. So I wouldn't say it felt unnatural. It felt exciting. Like it felt exhilarating to be selected and to be chosen to be able to do this rescue mission. Like it felt like an honor.
Like you were reborn?
Yes, it was like my soul was new again. It was childlike again, as though it had never undergone any of those traumas.
See, I had an epiphany 2 years ago, maybe three, and I was in my garage and I was just staring out at some trees, and it was kind of raining, and I was going to read a book, and I couldn't go on the deck to read. It was warm out, right? And I was going to just get a beach chair and just sit down and read. And I had this thought of we are spiritual beings in these human containers. These are just bodies. That's all it is. There's more going on there as opposed to the other way around. We are spiritual beings in these bodies. And it's kind of what you're talking about right there. You just occupied a different body.
Yes, and being a walk-in, it's a concept that scares a lot of people. They think, oh, that person might be possessed, and it's very taboo to talk about. So I'm grateful to have this platform with other people who are so open-minded. But we are just souls in bodies, and yes, it's rare, but there can be situations where that soul needs to be changed out due to trauma and things like that. So, yeah, it's nothing to be scared of. And, a little bit of my confusion on this planet is why it's so scary to people. But yeah, we have a vessel that contains our essence, that contains our soul. And I'm just simply someone who went through a huge shift because my essence was switched out entirely.
How does one know that they may be occupying another body? And would you know?
So there are some books, and there's actually a lot more books about walk-in souls now than there used to be. When I had mine, the only like real popular book was by Yvonne Perry. She wrote a book called Walk-ins Among Us, and you can definitely research, and I'm sure you can Google and find lists of symptoms that you may be a walk-in. I haven't met a lot of other fully conscious walk-ins. Some people go through this experience due to a near-death experience, like a car accident or something like that. But what you would find is that your memory begins to fade from before that experience. And you might remember, I remember my childhood here and there, but it doesn't feel like it happened to me. It feels like I'm watching a movie or I'm reading a book about it if I
Mm.
remember my childhood experiences. So you would have, a disconnection in your memory, and you would also feel like, your mother or your father or your brother or your sister might not really feel familiar to you anymore.
Mm.
I don't really feel a sense of like belonging or togetherness with those members of my family. And I also I underwent a complete personality change. So those would be kind of the three obvious signs that someone could be a walk-in soul.
For anybody that thinks this is kind of out there, kind of woo woo, I have an open mind to anything now in my journey. Yeah, I used to be a little more jaded. Now I'm like, all right, interesting. Prove it otherwise. I live in lyrics, and the song that resonates for me, and now I view the song in a different way, and it kind of applies to lyrics. It's called Once in a Lifetime by the Talking Heads. Came
Yeah, I
out
like
in
that.
the 80s,
Mhm.
and a lot of current artists, I mean, top current artists, Drake, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, on and on and on and on, listen to this song once a month on a regular basis just because of the way the song sounds, the texture. And I'm going to read the opening lyrics, and it almost sounds like what you're talking about. And you may find yourself living in a shotgun shack, and you may find yourself in another part of the world, and you may find yourself behind the wheel of a large automobile, and you may find yourself in a beautiful house with a beautiful wife. And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here? And
Yeah, I mean, life is amazing, and I think my experience is proof that we can undergo radical shifts in our mindset,
yeah.
in our abilities, and we can heal and we can recover, and we can always live a new life at any point we decide we want to.
Now, you made a reference to an extraterrestrial situation that led to this. Tell us about that.
So I have extraterrestrial family that more or less watch over me, make sure I'm okay. And from my understanding, they facilitated the walk-in experience so that it could be fully conscious, so that it could be done safely and as effectively as possible.
I need to. Are we talking about in our galaxy? Like, we have these visions of what an extraterrestrial is. Like, what? How would you describe it?
So the main extraterrestrial I work with, his name is Ko Shah, and he does have a ship. So he stations somewhere in our galaxy in order to assist and watch over people that he deems to be part of his family. Because we all have some extraterrestrial star family and different lineages. So yeah, he's actually a physical person. He's Pleiadian. He's in a Pleiadian body at this time, but he's multidimensional. So he also functions as my spirit guide at the same time as being in an extraterrestrial body.
Would you say that you had challenges in your earlier life, and then this person? Do you know her name?
You mean
The
the
person.
first soul?
Yeah.
So I used to use the middle name, but it confused people. So now I use her name. So, but technically she's Jamie and I'm Marie. I really kind of identify more with the middle name.
Okay. Um, it sounds like, and I'm just looking at this. Flying the plane over, the bleachers, trying to, absorb this. That you had challenges in your earlier life, and she had challenges, and eventually passed on. And do you think that that's why this synergy took place, where you occupied her body?
Well, I see us as being like soul sisters in a way, like we're part of the same oversoul, we're part of the same soul family, but she had much more lifetimes on Earth before. So, from my understanding, this is my first real lifetime on Earth, where she had many, many thousands and thousands of incarnations on Earth.
Oh, okay.
So she had more karma she had to clear, and but I was kind of a new soul that was birthed from the oversoul. So I think we just matched up because almost her darkness was kind of complementary to my light in a way.
Why did she have so much karma to deal with?
Because of war, because of her Anunnaki lineage and her ancestors and the things her ancestors had done. She has, Anunnaki ancestors, and there was a lot of control and domination on the planet from that species. So in order to help clear that karma, she would have to incarnate and actually kind of experience control and domination dynamics, but be able to transcend them and to alchemize them and clear them in order to help heal her ancestral lineage.
So you have intuitive abilities, and you use that to help people heal. Did you have that prior to taking over her body, or it just came about?
No. At the time of the walk-in, the old soul was just working like part-time as a nurse. She was very immersed in spirituality, but she was not trying to do it as a profession or help people with it in that way.
Wow. Do you think it would ever happen again where you would occupy somebody else and this exchange would take place down the road? Could that happen?
I used to worry. I used to worry when I first walked in, like, how long am I going to be here for?
I don't blame
How much time
you.
do I have? But now I feel pretty secure. There were times I got frustrated being here, and I'd be like, "Can I just walk out? Can I just leave?" And they were like, "No, you're here for the rest of the lifetime." So I've been told that over and over enough times that I feel secure that this is my body, and I'm not going to have to leave or exchange again. But yeah, it's definitely something that I thought about a lot. Like, what if there's another soul exchange and I have to do this all over again?
Where do you get guidance on this? You can't Google it. Okay.
Yeah.
Like the Akashic records. Let me access those and let me see what's going on and where it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Wild, fascinating. Call it. We talk about reincarnation, past lives, and all of that. And this kind of sounds like it's in that wheelhouse.
Yeah,
right?
It definitely goes along with reincarnation. If you don't believe in reincarnation, my story won't make any sense.
You know what? I'm open to anything, learning different viewpoints, and just what I said before, how we're spirits in these human containers. Where did that come about? Honestly, it was after my mom passed, and I feel that her spirit's always around, and that's what kind of made me, and I asked for signs. May have shared before. I get very specific, very deep, very specific things from her, and there's no doubt in my mind it's coming. Either she's sending it or sending it to universe, and it's coming out. Whatever, they arrive, and I see it, and that was my eye opener to okay. When somebody passes, their energy's still around, hasn't gone anywhere. We have to open up our eyes to see the signs of it, and that was kind of the door opener to a lot of what we're talking about here, and trying to process and understand it. But that's what you do in terms of helping people through healing and spiritual coaching. And what's the best way to find you?
They can email me, jamie@calmerwaterscoaching.com, or you can give me a call at 228-332-6024.
Amazing talking with you. Super interesting. And, thanks for helping us understand something. If somebody's feeling this may be coming their way, or they're occupying, maybe they don't feel in their skin, whatever it might be. Maybe there's a reason for it. Maybe there's a reason to look deeper into it. Appreciate you being here today.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. We'll be right back. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind, like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind, like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama, like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply STOP to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. and leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.